which, there are some representatives of ICICI Bank, it's an AML software. ZPay, without the government asking us to do that, we're integrating with Analog as an AML software. We've also integrated with Chainalysis, which is a AML version for the Bitcoin transactions. And so we are trying to give that demonstration that this is not an anonymous technology, this is the most public technology that you could actually ever come across.
Right, so we're still at that stage where we are evangelizing, basically, probably putting our case in front of different, basically, promising regulators and so on.
Yes, it's a tough job. I mean, by the time they're trying to understand something that happened 2-3 years back, and government is not one person; it's a big department. And by that time, the industry is moving ahead. It's a little crazy for them. I sympathize with them.
All right, thanks. Just while talking on bitcoins, I would like to invite Yashmith on the stage. He's another of our students who's gone ahead and invested in bitcoins, so he's put his money where his mouth is, and in fact, he's been studying bitcoins for a while now. So, Yashmith, why don't you share about your experience and what got you moved to bitcoins in the first place?
I was the classic nobody who didn't know anything about bitcoins and just wanted to know about it because it was intriguing. It was a technology or currency that I had never come across. So I looked up what it is, the internet, as always providing information when you need it. And I looked it up, I felt like I should put some money, right? And I came across websites, and the best part is that Steam, the game service provider, also accepts Bitcoin. So I found an outlet to use Bitcoin. So I bought some Bitcoins, and I realized that this is not for the common man right now. Because the network fees that is incurred for a 1,000 rupee transaction, I have to pay 300-400 rupees in network fees.
Okay.
So that is how I felt like this is it is not mature enough for everyday people to just use it as a currency. In Japan it might be because it's used as a legal tender, the network fee is not so high because everybody knows what it is, how it's used, and what are the applications. But places like in India where there's barely any people who know what it is and how it works and what are the actual good fees that you should pay, it is a rip-off. And until people can actually understand where it is and how it is and who it is that is making this work and realize that no, it is us, it is the people who are using bitcoins that are driving bitcoins, it will only be successful then. And so, for example, I thought about, I'm just a person who has the capacity to use normal cash in day-to-day transactions. What about the people who don't have internet access? And that through further research, I realized that it is actually much better for people in rural areas because peer-to-peer is much more encouraged in bitcoins than it is in central tenant. So there are no banks involved. If you want to pay somebody for their services, you don't go through a bank, you don't go through somebody else, you don't go through a person who is keeping their own tender, you just pay directly. And it actually helps more in places that the crimes are much higher, war crimes, and people who use, say for example, coal miners or people who mine diamonds. They have a lot bigger problem because they have to go through the people who are selling those diamonds and they cut them off even more. And now, because of the anonymity of bitcoins, because of the way Bitcoin works, and the way that it is so easy to transfer through SMS itself, you can transfer Bitcoin through SMS, so no internet is required. They can go without going through the people who are ripping them off and directly sell the things that they have made or they have created or they would like to get their original price on. And that is how I believe that the Bitcoin is going to change for the better, but it will take less resistance from the government because they realize that it is money going through without them noticing. They don't know how much every person has. A person can have 10 wallets with 0.1 Bitcoin in each, but one person has one wallet with around 2 Bitcoins, and they both have almost the same amount of Bitcoins, but the government perceives one person as a very rich person, the other one who is not that rich. And so that is why the governments don't really move forward for this, and they're generally against this movement because they have no control over the currency. And no government wants a currency that is flowing through without them noticing or without them having any control over it. And that is the major issue why one global currency is going to have a difficulty.
Thanks, Yashmith. I think for a 18-year-old, you've given us and it's amazing to see how blockchain and Bitcoin, I think, has kind of broken the age barrier, right? from basically 18 to whichever age you are, and I'm not going to go for who's the oldest one out here, but I think the application and the use cases that we are talking about are fairly, straddling all strata, all kind of industries, government, private participation. So to that extent, we see that there is enough in the technology itself to people to start noticing and actually understanding a bit more about it. From the usability, implementation, scalability, which is an important factor, we would probably still have some way to go. And I think it's important how you spoke about the ecosystem and we spoke about how regulation support is required. I think the true power can come in where we really see ecosystem coming together to see the benefits of blockchain. Any other points? I'm going to leave it open-ended that you would like to add from, we have 3 minutes still as far as the panel goes in terms of what it will take us to go to the next level. Any thoughts, points?
I could address some of the scalability issues. So first I wanted to say that he obviously knows more about bitcoins than the banking system, and that's the target audience, right? So I mean, by the time this generation grows up, by the time this generation grows up, I think they will be much more comfortable with Bitcoin rather than their first credit card or their first bank account. So that's one thing. The second very important point he raised about was scalability. I mean, there are Bitcoin can do a measly 5 transactions per second. I think a credit card company does, I don't know, hundreds and thousands of transactions per second. It's terrible at scale right now. It's actually fantastic at consensus and trust and immutability, terrible at scale. When we first started using the internet, we would send text messages. We've of course all gone through buffering, right? I mean, the internet went from text messages to high definition Netflix video today. Scale is not a destination, it's a journey. As Bitcoin, as the Bitcoin network or the Ethereum network or these cryptocurrency networks are becoming more popular and being used more, they are scaling more. We just implemented a new protocol on the Bitcoin network last week, a couple of months back, called segregated witness, which took the Bitcoin capacity, doubled it. So, so I just wanted to say scale is a journey. We'll keep scaling it up like the way we scale the internet.
Thanks. Anybody else?
In complex, highly engineered product industry like ours, we are waiting and watching. We believe there will be applications, and we are assessing the technology.
Right.
Yeah, I actually echo what Sandeep just said, and at least I am of the age group which was around when the internet was invented. Yeah, late 80s, early 90s, and while I was much younger then, I still remember panels like these. Because the internet actually did nothing at that time. It was nothing. There was no browser. There was no speed at all. In fact, there was no Google, there was no Amazon, there was no nothing. There were no devices for it. And for many people it was a waste of time, right? And people didn't know what even could be done with it. And there were more people telling us about the evils of the internet because, stuff got shared like Napster later, or porn happened on the internet far more than any other application, and so there were far more evils of the internet than uses. And frankly, if people like these two guys sitting there had listened to them at that time, the internet would not have become what it has become today. And pretty much I'm seeing the same conversations happening in blockchain. It's very interesting, but when you actually see the people who are building and working on blockchain protocols are the same guys who are in their 50s many times, who actually sat and did open source around the internet, and they have seen it before and they therefore know that it's going to be different. So all I would say is that look, there are many problems, okay, all kinds, and we've listened to many of them, but and we are not going to be able to solve each one of them and then only try and build something. It's only through building something that we'll be able to solve it. So we should not stop there.
Thanks. If we have time for just one more question from the audience, anyone?
Hi, good morning. My name is Jayad Aditya. I work as a consultant for a payments company. My question was basically this: does the incentive to maintain blockchain necessarily have to be cryptocurrency, or can it be normal currency as well? Because if blockchain does have certain advantages, because if it's basically a trade-off between trust and confidentiality, scams and frauds might reduce if such a system is implemented maybe at a regulatory level. banking transactions, maybe a personal transaction might be private, but maybe an institutional transaction. We can actually prevent frauds if such technology is implemented at critical points rather than, across the industry. Does that make sense in any way? Question is open to anyone.
Sure. I think in principle, yes. The incentivization could happen in any currency, but the idea is that if you're building a community where the validators, the consumers, the providers of all the information and services and validations are incentivized in a common currency and its value goes up as the ecosystem grows, it's ideal to use a common token or a currency if possible. But equally, you can do it in Indian rupees, you can do it in dollars and any other currency as well. So just think about Bitcoin, for example. If the miners were not to get Bitcoin and they were getting rupees or dollars, let's say, they would not benefit from the appreciation in the value of the Bitcoins, right? So you are actually removing the good potential growth mechanism within the ecosystem by giving them something else. So your mouth is not where your heart is. So it defeats the purpose, but it can be done. There's no reason not to do it. In principle, you can.
And my second question, follow-up question is, since there's a limitation on the number of Bitcoins, can the market actually have multiple cryptocurrencies floating and that's where the market can actually mature to?
They already do. There are many currencies today, probably 1,000 plus listed tokens, out of which hundreds are cryptocurrencies used only for a currency. The others are used for utility tokens or act like a security. So certainly there are already hundreds of them out there. And after Bitcoin, Ethers and various others are there, you can invest in any. Some are likely to grow, some are likely to crash.
My question is to Sandeep from ZPIC. A lot of Indian investors are wary of getting into Bitcoin just because they are not aware of government stand, and everybody knows that this government is very much anti-black money, and Bitcoin is seen as a vehicle to move black money, especially after demonetization. So since you are close to government, you have been interacting, what is the probability that tomorrow government will encourage blockchain but treat Bitcoin as illegal tender in India?
So that's what they're doing right now, and if the government can ban its own currency and with demonetization, of course, they can ban a currency which they do not control. So of course that possibility is there. Unfortunately, I cannot get the whole government's view in my mind, but I think they're trying to understand it right now, and I think what we are trying to do while we are doing the advocacy bit, and in fact the advocacy document that we present to the government is crowd-funded. It's on zepay.com legal. We welcome comments. You can download the document, give your comments. We'll add your name and add your paragraph if you find it useful. What we are trying to do is, you have with every technology, just like the way it was mentioned, it has the potential to be misused, especially if it's an infrastructure technology. Even torch and even a car can be misused. We've seen aeroplanes get misused, right? So that's you ban. So you have the option of banning the entire technology to prevent its minor misuse, or you can change the narrative and you can look at the opportunities. So financial inclusion, global fintech hub, saving billions of dollars in remittance. So what we are trying to do is trying to change the narrative to the opportunity and trying to inform them that how as a self-regulated industry we can take care of the risks. Finally, they have to take a call. The fact that countries like Japan and the US and EU are opening up definitely builds our case and makes it a lot more stronger.
Thank you everyone. Sorry I'll have to cut down on the questions. They'll be available. We're just having tea after this, so you can grab hold of them when they are in the networking session. That's okay, because I'm really mindful of the time. But thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, panelists.
Together for our panelists and of course our panel chair. And like Neha mentioned, for an 18-year-old or a 17-year-old, the boys have done such a splendid job. I think I have them as my financial advisors. Please put your hands together as I welcome on stage Yashmit and Sanket. And to thank each one of our panelists in our young generation, I'd like to invite on stage Archana yet again. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as she steps forward to thank each one of them. With all this discussion, I thought we have a lot more energy in this room than this. So a big round of applause for all of them here on stage. And like Neha mentioned, they'll be joining us for tea. So you're more than welcome to question them on a one-on-one basis. And of course, we look forward to knowing what you feel on Twitter with our hashtag #ETBlockchain. And what a special moment for all of us here on stage as Archana congratulates and appreciates their presence. May I request all of you to join us for a group picture as we capture this proud moment. I'd like to request our guests to please remain seated. We have a very interesting poll session lined up for you in the next couple of seconds. Thank you all, you've been very, very kind. This, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to a very, very special segment that we've recently introduced. Yes, the poll questionnaire. Each one of you and your delegate kids received a poll questionnaire. May I request all of you please take those out, because as cryptocurrency is on the rise in the global segment, we have a lot of movement here in India happening as well. And we want to know what your thoughts are on the same. We have 30 seconds for each one of you to share your opinion with us, and let's see what most of us in this room feel. Ladies and gentlemen, the first question is a very interesting one, and I'm sure each one of you will agree to us, as our knowledge partners KPMG have very rightly put, what will be the impact of cryptocurrency in India? So let's see what your thoughts are, 1 being the minimum and 5 being the maximum. Your 30 seconds start now. And as the countdown is on to all the questions right there, what will be the impact of cryptocurrency on the Indian society? I'd like you to please share your opinion with us, from a minimum being 1 and a maximum going up to 5. 30 seconds for all of you all to share your opinion on all 5 poll questions. I'd like to request my team at the registration desk to please share the poll questionnaire with those who don't have. May I request all those of you who don't have the questionnaire to please raise your hands. We'll make sure we pass them on to you, sir. So we'll pass them on to you right away. For the rest of our guests, let's see what most of us think. What are your thoughts? The biggest impact of blockchain in the supply chain? What will be the impact of blockchain on the healthcare ecosystem? Let's see what most of us here feel. A like-minded group of experts here when it comes to cryptocurrency and blockchain. Gentlemen on the second table, Abhishek, if you could help me with the gentleman on the second table and a few gentlemen on the third table. Gentleman in the white shirt behind you. Anybody else who hasn't received it? So I'll just pass it on to you. Gentleman on the third table, please, Abhishek. And as the first set of 30 seconds ends, I'd like to thank each one of you for sharing your opinion with us. At this point, I'd also like to request all of you to please do fill the delegate feedback form. This truly helps us knowing what you think of the conclave. And when we come back with our next edition, it's going to be a reminder for all of us right here of what more do you expect out of us and what more can we come back to. So may I request all of you to please keep your opinion poll questionnaires on your table, and our team will collect the same in the next minute or so. Are we almost done? Fantastic. And at this point, let me invite all of you to join us for a networking tea, post which we have a very special session lined up for all of you. We meet in the next 10 minutes. Looking forward to seeing you back here for our next session full of spirits and interaction. Thank you.
Spending power with any one of them. Too many consumers eventually decide participation in most loyalty programs will not benefit them, so they stop using them. The merchants, for their part, miss out on increased sales from loyalty programs, not to mention the valuable data that loyalty programs can theoretically provide. Loyalty programs are very important for businesses because it helps the merchants target customers with tailored offers.
Hope you're enjoying it.
A new cryptocurrency changes all of this by bringing greater value to consumers in the form of a universal loyalty currency that retailers, travel companies, banks, e-commerce companies, and other merchants can use. A universal loyalty currency built using blockchain technology allows the consumer to hold one loyalty currency that is accepted by various merchants and choose where he wants to spend his elements. A single currency accepted by multiple merchants provides an advantage to consumers and merchants alike. With the universally accepted loyalty currency, consumers are naturally motivated to spend more since it delivers faster and centralized rewards when the consumer spends their money. It also provides them with exceptional freedom to spend. A single loyalty currency can create more value to a consumer from a merchant loyalty program, thereby leading to improved customer satisfaction. Customers can use the Elements loyalty coins to purchase products from merchants or exchange the coins for other currencies, such as fiat currencies like US dollars and euros, as well as...
Hi, I thought I'll introduce the two of you all.
Nice meeting you. You're live right away.
He's the project director.
Yeah, done.
Don't go live like this was telling.
No, this is already live, so I'll just finish it off. Sure, no questions. No questions. Say hi. Hi. Okay, we're just gonna have some conversation, guys. I'll be back in like next 5 minutes.